In this video, we are going to go over how to convert logarithmic equations into exponential form. In the previous video, we went from exponential to logs. So in this one, we're just going to go the other direction. We are going from logarithmic equations and converting them into exponential form. Again, we need to define what a log is, same thing as in the previous video. So for b greater than 0, but not equal to 1, log base b of x is equal to y, if and only if b raised to the y is equal to x. So we will use this definition to do our conversions. So let's look at an example. So here we have log base 14 of 196 is equal to 2, and we need to convert it to exponential form. Right now it is currently in log form, and we want it to be in exponential form. So our step is going to be the same as when we went the other direction. We need to identify our three parts. This guy right here is my b, so b is equal to 14. This guy right here is the x, so x is equal to 196. And finally, this last one over here is our y, so y is equal to 2. Once we've identified our three parts, we can go ahead and reconfigure it so that it matches exponential form. So exponential form is b, in this case 14, raised to the y, in our specific example y is 2, is equal to our x, which is 196. So we have converted our logarithmic form into exponential form. Let's go ahead and look at another example. Again, here we have log base 3 of 1 over 81 is equal to negative 4. This is currently in log form, and we want to convert it so it is in exponential form. So first step, as with going the other direction, our first step is to identify our three pieces. So this guy is our b, so b is equal to 3. This guy is our x, so x is equal to 1 over 81. And lastly, this guy over here is our y, so y is equal to negative 4. Now that we've identified our three pieces, we can convert this into exponential form. So we have b, which is 3, raised to the y, which is negative 4, is equal to our x, which is 1 over 81. So we have converted this logarithmic equation into its corresponding exponential form. Let's look at another example. So here we have log of 1 over 4, log base 1 over 4 of 1 over 64 is equal to 3. This is currently in log form. We want to convert it to exponential form. So we need to identify our three parts. So first we have our b, which is this guy right here. So b is equal to 1 over 4. Then we have our x, which is this guy right here. So x is equal to 1 over 64. And lastly, we have our y, which was this guy right here. So y is equal to 3. We've identified our three parts, so we are now able to go ahead and convert it to exponential. So we have our b, 1 over 4, raised to our y, 3, is equal to our x, which is 1 over 64. So we have converted this guy to its exponential form. Again, let's look at another example. Here we have what log base 13 of 28,561 is equal to 4. So it is currently in log form, and we want to convert it to exponential. So we first identify our three pieces. Our b is 13. Our x is 28,561. And lastly, our y is 4. Once we have these pieces, we can go ahead and convert it to exponential form. We then have b, which is 13, raised to the y, which is 4, is equal to our x, which in this specific example is 28,561. So we have successfully converted this logarithmic equation into its corresponding exponential form. Let's look at another example. Now we have an example where we're not all numbers. We have variables. It still does not change the process. Log base y of 74 is equal to x is still logarithmic form, so it matches this guy over here. We want to convert it to exponential, so it matches this guy over here. So our first step is to identify our parts. So our b is equal to y for this specific example. Our x is equal to 74 for this specific example, and our y in this example would actually be equal to x. So the color code can kind of be helpful here since we're using some of the same letters. So now that we've identified our parts, we need to convert it to exponential. So our b, which in this case is y, raised to our y, or our green, which is x, is equal to our x, or our red, which was 74. So we've converted this logarithmic form into its corresponding exponential form. It really is all just simply match up your numbers or your letters, find your three parts, and then move them around so that they're in a different shape. They're in a different order based off of whether you want it in log form or exponential form. So let's look at another example. Here we have a logarithmic form. Log base 5 of 796 is equal to x. It's in logarithmic form, matches this guy right here. We want to convert it to its exponential form. So we need to identify our three parts. Our b would be this guy right here, so b is equal to 5. Our x is right here, so x is equal to 796. And lastly, our y is this guy over here. In this case, he's called x. So we know our three pieces. We can reconfigure it so it is in exponential form. We take our b, 5, and we raise it to our x, we raise it to our y, which in this case is x, and it equals our red, or our x, which is 796. So the color code again can come in really helpful. You're matching up the colors and converting it into the exponential form. Let's look at another example. Now we have nothing but variables. We have no numbers, but the process doesn't change. Log base x of z is equal to q is in logarithmic form currently. We want to convert it to exponential, so we need to identify our three pieces, our blue, our red, and our green. Our blue, or our b, is this guy right here. So b is equal to x in this example. Our red, or our x, is z, so x is equal to z. And lastly, our y is equal to q. We've identified our three parts, so we can now go ahead and reconfigure it so that it matches exponential form. So we take our b, which is x, and we raise it to our y, which is q, and all of that equals our x, which in this case is z. So we have converted this logarithmic equation into its exponential form. And finally, let's look at one last example. Here we have log base 17 of m is equal to 301. Again, it is in logarithmic form. We want to convert it to exponential form. So identify your three pieces. Your b is 17. Your x is m. And lastly, your y is 301. we have our three colored pieces. We can reconfigure into exponential form. It's the b, in this case 17, raised to the y, 301, is equal to the x, which is m. Forgot my equal sign. Equal to the x, which is m. So we have successfully converted this from logarithmic form to its exponential form. So now we're able to go both directions. We've already mastered going from exponential to logarithmic form, and now hopefully after this video we are soon going to be masters of going from logarithmic form to exponential form.